When did your crypto bro boyfriend and a PTA mom conspire against your raise? Y'all, I literally just found out the reason my raise was denied last month, and it involves my 25-year-old crypto bro boyfriend and the PTA Karen from hell. I'm sitting in my 2018 Honda Civic, parked under a burnt-out sodium lamp across the street from the venue where this whole disaster is about to kick off. My phone battery is at 3%, and my hands are shaking so bad I almost dropped my iPhone 14, which I'm still paying off, BTW. I don't even know where to start with this dumpster fire of a situation. I'm Barbara Torres, 48F, and if you know anything about me, it's that I am the definition of conflict avoidant. I am the person who lets someone cut them in line at Trader Joe's and then apologizes to them. My whole life motto is basically peace at any cost. Pass me with such an idiot. I've been dating Wayne Gonzalez, 25M, for 2 years and 8 months. Yeah, I know the age gap. Stop it. I've heard it all. He was charming, he was energetic, and honestly, after my divorce 4 years ago, I just wanted someone who paid attention to me. Wayne is a full-on walking advertisement for toxic masculinity sponsored by NFTs. He wears expensive sneakers he can't afford, talks constantly about going long on Solana, and his main form of employment seems to be moving money around Zelle and complaining about the SEC. He drives a beat-up Toyota Corolla, but he insists on parking it 3 blocks away from our apartment, 3B, joint lease. Thank God I kept my finances separatish, so people don't see him pull up. The first sign things were really off wasn't the weird $200 withdrawals he kept claiming were for emergency server maintenance. I know, red flag, but it was the money stress that was crushing me. Rent is $1,247, split down the middle. For the last 6 months, he's been late with his $623.50 every single time. And I mean late. Like, I get the Zelle notification at 11:47 p.m. on the 5th of the month, followed by a text. SRY babe been busy with a whale. Then came the work drama. I work as an accounting manager at a medium-sized firm. Nothing glamorous, but I've been there 15 years, I'm good at my job, and I was due for a promotion and a significant raise. Significant as in, it would finally let me pay for the damn $85 plumber charge he ignored last month, and maybe even start saving for a down payment on a place where I don't have to listen to the neighbor's Peloton instruction videos through the thin wall. My review was Tuesday at 11:47 a.m. I was expecting the promotion. Hit excellent metrics, I hit every target, and my boss, Mr. Henderson, kept dropping hints. I showed up wearing the new blazer I bought on Amazon, feeling confident. Mr. Henderson sat me down, shuffled some papers, and then delivered the news. No raise, no promotion. I stammered, wait, what? What are you saying? I thought we were on track. He looked really uncomfortable, which is the most terrifying thing a manager can do. He said, and I quote, "Barbara, we value your loyalty." Truly? But frankly, the board is concerned about your focus. We've received some feedback that suggests significant distractions in your personal life are impacting your time, particularly in the afternoons. We need managers who are 100% committed, 24/7. Frankly, the optics are poor right now. The optics? What the hell did that mean? I use my PTO responsibly. I only have 12 PTO hours left for the rest of the year. I clocked out 5:30 p.m. sharp every day to try and manage the house because Wayne is working on his portfolio. I felt my chest tight. I wanted to scream. I missed my niece's birthday party to work on that Q3 report. I tried to push back. With all due respect, I haven't missed a deadline in 5 years. What specific feedback are you referring to? He just gave me that vague corporate gaslighting smile. It's nothing specific, Barbara, just an overall impression. We'll revisit this in 6 months. I wanted to key his beat-up Toyota Corolla in the parking garage. The rage I felt was overwhelming, but being conflict avoidant, I did the thing where you just smile and nod while internally screaming. I walked back to my cube, grabbed my sad little lunchbox, and walked out the door at 1:00 p.m., claiming a migraine. I felt so stupid. Went home and ate a pint of Talenti gelato and watched Netflix, wondering how I was going to cover the entire $347 electric bill alone. This is where my self-respect decided to make a dramatic cameo. I needed answers about those distractions. Wayne's schedule is usually wake up at noon, scream at his Samsung Galaxy about Coinbase until 3 p.m., go to the Starbucks on Main Street for his expensive matcha latte, and then network until 10 p.m. He claimed he was at a major investor meeting tonight. I checked our Ring doorbell footage first. Yes, I installed it after he lost his key for the 3rd time. At 5:30 p.m., I saw him leave, dressed in the painfully tight dark wash jeans and a fresh, unwrinkled white t-shirt. He was carrying a small, wrapped box, definitely not the typical investor meeting attire. Then I did the absolute psycho thing. I used to Find My iPhone app. Had his password because he literally cannot remember passwords to save his life. I saw his little green dot moving, not toward the financial district, but toward the suburban side of town. Specifically, the massive amphitheater where the terrible 90s cover band, Grunge Is Gone, was playing tonight. I texted him, "Hey babe, how's the meeting? Hope you closed that whale." He texted back immediately, "Epic meeting. So much noise here, need to focus. T-tile. So much noise." The high-stakes, closed-door investment meeting? The math wasn't mathing, you know? I jumped in my Civic. I drove through terrible rush hour traffic, nearly spilled my gas station coffee, and got to the venue parking lot. Parking was impossible, naturally, so I ended up here, across the street. I opened Instagram. Wayne's profile is locked down like Fort Knox, but he follows his business associates. I scrolled through the recent stories for the amphitheater geotag, and there it was. Story posted 5 minutes ago. It was a boomerang of 2 glasses clinking together. One of the hands had Wayne's stupid expensive Apple Watch, the one he charges 24/7 on the nightstand. And the caption? Celebrating making moves, thanks to the best partner a girl could ask for. I felt my stomach drop to the floor. My hands were actually shaking now. I had the physical reaction, my vision blurry, ears ringing, and I desperately needed to throw up but couldn't. I was breathing shallowly, ugly crying into my seatbelt, leaving mascara streaks on my cardigan. I am 48 years old and dealing with this level of betrayal from a man whose mother probably still does his laundry. I clicked on the profile that posted the boomerang. It was Linda Petrov, 30F. Wait, what? Linda Petrov, the name on the profile. I recognized the face immediately. Linda Petrov, the woman who had emailed Mr. Henderson 3 times last month, complaining that my proposal for the new community funda proposal I worked 60 hours overtime on and didn't get paid for was too risky and disorganized and, frankly, showed a lack of professional maturity. She's the stereotypical PTA Karen who always uses the phrase, "I need to speak to your manager," and volunteers for every neighborhood association to exercise control. She's the wife of the firm's biggest client, Mark Petrov, who sits on the board. She was the one whose feedback cost me the raise. And here she was at a terrible cover band concert, clinking glasses with my boyfriend, Wayne, celebrating, making moves. The audacity, the sheer audacity of this situation. I realized everything. Wayne wasn't networking with whales. He was talking to Linda. He wasn't working late on his portfolio. He was schmoozing the wife of the board member who could influence my career. I thought back to the few times he'd taken my firm's contact list, which I stupidly left on the kitchen counter, and claimed he was organizing it for me. He was harvesting names. He was using me. I was devastated, but honestly, mostly I was raging. This wasn't just cheating. This was a financial ambush, a professional assassination orchestrated by my own boyfriend and the human manifestation of a HOA violation letter. I took a deep, shaky breath, wiping the snot away with the back of my hand. I drove a quarter-mile down the road, found a better parking spot, and started to put my plan into action. I was done being conflict-avoidant Barbara. The rage I felt was giving me an insane amount of energy. Haven't slept properly in 48 hours, but I was wired. I opened my phone and called the only person who is as impulsive as Wayne is irresponsible. Sharon Barnes, 26F. Sharon and I are work friends. She's the sassy, slightly terrifying millennial who knows everything about social media trends and has zero filter. She answered on the first ring, probably scrolling TikTok. "B, why are you calling me at 10:15 on a Tuesday? Are you okay?" "No," I hissed, trying to keep my voice down. "I need you to come to the amphitheater, right now. Emergency, code red, bring backup." "The grunge is gone show. Why are you there? Is Wayne cheating?" Sharon asked, cutting straight to the point, bless her heart. "Worse, he's weaponizing my career against me with Linda Petrov, the board member's wife. I'm going to ruin him, Sharon. I need you to document everything. And I need someone else who can actually talk sense into the situation before I key his car. I'm coming over right now, and I am bringing Catherine," she said instantly. I frowned. "Catherine Scott, 24F, the quiet one from data entry, the misunderstood loner? Why her?" Catherine is the office enigma. She keeps to herself, wears massive noise-canceling AirPods, and communicates mostly through cryptic Slack messages. It always looks like she's about to cry, but she's also the most technically competent person on the 5th floor. "Trust me," Sharon said, her voice dropping. "Catherine has some history with Linda Petrov's husband, Mark. It's drama that's been brewing for 6 months. Catherine has the receipts, B, she's been waiting for the perfect opportunity to deploy them. And a concert venue where Linda thinks she's untouchable? That's the perfect staging." "Oh my God," I whispered. "This is getting complicated. I just wanted to confront Wayne about the $347 electric bill and why my promotion disappeared." "Honey, this isn't about the electric bill anymore. This is about taking down the whole corrupt corporate pyramid scheme that stole your damn raise," Sharon declared. "I am in my car. Text me your parking spot number. It'll be there in 20. And please, for the love of God, don't confront them alone." I sat there, staring at the venue entrance. Thought of confronting Wayne and Linda Petrov felt terrifying. But the thought of losing my raise and job security because of this 25-year-old crypto clown and his PTA accomplice felt worse. I checked to find my iPhone again. Wayne's dot hadn't moved. He was still in the middle of the arena. I knew the entrance he would use. The VIP gate, of course, because Wayne believes he deserves VIP access to everything in life, usually on someone else's dime. Pulled out my lipstick, a shade I usually only wear for corporate presentations. I reapplied it meticulously. I grabbed the purse I rarely use, the big, structured one that looks professional but could also contain enough rage to set off a small seismic event. I opened my phone again. I had 27 missed calls from my mom because I never answer her after 8 p.m. and 47 unread texts. I opened a new message thread. To Wayne Gonzalez. I typed, deleted, typed again. I wanted to send the meanest, pettiest text possible, but I held back. I needed the element of surprise. I just typed 3 words. "See you soon." I turned off read receipts. My phone vibrated immediately. It was a Zelle notification. Wayne had finally paid his $623.50 rent share for this month. Late, but paid. I guess he was feeling guilty or celebratory. The sound of a horn blared. Sharon's beat-up Jetta pulled up next to my Civic, tires squealing slightly. Catherine Scott, 24F, was in the passenger seat, wearing a massive black hoodie despite the warm weather, looking incredibly stressed and clutching an ancient-looking laptop like a security blanket. Sharon leaned out the window. "B, you look like you're about to kill someone. Good. Did you bring the receipts?" I asked Catherine, my voice flat. Catherine just nodded silently, pulling up her hoodie further, her eyes darting toward the venue. She looked like a highly motivated but extremely fragile assassin. "Listen," Sharon whispered conspiratorially. "Linda and Wayne are in Section C, row 4 VIP box adjacent. I saw it on her friend's tag story. They're watching Smells Like Teen Spirit right now, apparently. The moment is ripe." "Okay," I said, opening my car door. I felt a weird mix of terror and total clarity. I was walking towards certain disaster, but at least I wasn't doing it alone. We approached the VIP entrance, blending into the crowd of flannel and regrettable 90s fashion. Sharon was filming discreetly on her phone, ready to expose the entire scandal on TikTok if necessary. Catherine was silent, pale, and ready to deploy whatever information she held. I walked past the security guard, who didn't even notice us. We looked determined enough to be official. The music was deafening. Air smelled like stale beer and desperation. And then I saw them. Section C, row 4. Wayne was laughing, his arm around Linda Petrov's shoulders. Linda, the woman who denied my raise, was whispering something in his ear, handing him a large envelope, not a gift box, but a thick manila envelope. As I got closer, close enough to hear their voices over the music, I heard Linda say something that stopped me dead in my tracks. She wasn't talking about my job or crypto or an investment. She said, "Mark is furious, Wayne. He said the withdrawal was suspicious. If he finds out about the baby, it's over. But I got the initial payment. This is enough to get you both out of town for a week." Baby? Withdrawal? I looked at the envelope in Wayne's hand. It wasn't full of documents. It was full of cash. Wayne leaned down and kissed Linda Petrov right on the mouth. A long, lingering kiss. Before I could even process the words baby and withdrawal and kiss, Sharon grabbed my arm, preventing me from charging in. "Wait," Sharon hissed, pointing toward the floor of the VIP section just below where Wayne and Linda were standing. "B, look." On the sticky, discarded napkin-strewn floor, right under the railing, was Wayne's expensive Apple Watch. It was vibrating furiously, the screen cracked, displaying a lock screen notification. The notification wasn't from me or crypto alerts or even a Venmo request. It was a text message thread from a contact named KS. The preview text read, "I'm serious, Wayne. You need to call me. I know you're with Linda and the baby is due in 3 weeks. If you don't answer, I am telling Catherine Scott everything." Y'all, I literally short-circuited. My brain just couldn't handle the data input. Baby, withdrawal, Linda, Wayne, kiss, Catherine Scott's name in a threat text. My heart was doing this awful, frantic hummingbird thing in my chest. Sharon was still gripping my arm so tightly I think I'll have a bruise tomorrow. The terrible cover band was launching into a painful rendition of Jeremy. Everything was too loud, too bright, too sticky. "Breathe, B, breathe," Sharon hissed right into my ear. "We need to process the intel. He's having a baby with someone called KS, I whispered, the words tasting like copper. Who the hell is KS? And why does KS need to tell Catherine Scott everything? Catherine, bless her heart, was still clutching that ancient laptop, looking like she was about to pass out from stress. She mumbled, barely audible over the Pearl Jam knockoff, "KS is it could be many people. But she mentioned Mark Petrov's suspicious withdrawal, right?" Linda said Mark is furious about the withdrawal, I clarified, trying to replay the scene. She gave Wayne cash and said it was enough to get them both out of town for a week, and then she kissed him. Sharon shook her head, her eyes wide as saucers, her phone still filming discreetly. God love her commitment. "Okay, so let's break this down. Wayne is juggling 3 women in GL. You, Linda, for the money career sabotage, and KS, the baby mama. Linda is using client money board influence to pay Wayne to keep his mouth shut about something, probably involving her husband, Mark. KS, the baby mama, is threatening to tell Catherine Scott something, likely about Mark Petrov. It was a corporate espionage drama sponsored by terrible 90s rock and terrible life choices. Wait, Catherine, I asked, turning to the tiny, stressed-out woman. What is your history with Mark Petrov? Why is KS threatening to involve you? Catherine swallowed hard, her eyes fixed on Wayne's back. He was now taking a selfie with Linda, who looked annoyingly smug. Mark Petrov, Catherine started, her voice surprisingly steady despite the volume. He was my first manager on the 5th floor 6 years ago, before he moved up. He was, let's just say, he offered me a promotion based on criteria that were not performance-based. I refused, I filed an internal complaint, and they shelved it. They transferred me to data entry and told me to keep my mouth shut or I'd be blacklisted everywhere. I kept the screenshots and the recordings, though. I kept everything. My jaw dropped. That disgusting man. That explained why Catherine was always so quiet and terrified. She was carrying corporate trauma. And KS knows this? Sharon asked, filming Catherine's face for emphasis, then quickly panning back to Wayne. No, Catherine said, shaking her head. But KS is probably Kiara Smith. She's the junior admin in the regional office. Mark Petrov also hired her 2 years ago. I think Kiara is the one having Wayne's baby, but Kiara thinks Mark Petrov is the father. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? Wayne is setting up Mark Petrov to be the father of his baby? He's not just cheating on you, B, Sharon whispered, horrified but also clearly thrilled by the sheer chaos. He's running a long con to extract money from Mark Petrov by getting his mistress pregnant, then pinning the paternity on Petrov to force a massive payout or a cover-up. Linda is paying him off because if Mark finds out he's been played by his junior admin and Wayne, the crypto bro, the public scandal will ruin her social standing and his board position. My raise. The raise that was denied because of optics and distractions. This wasn't about my performance. This was about Wayne using me for firm access, using Linda for board influence, and using Kiara Smith to blackmail a board member. My distractions were literally the fallout from a multi-layered financial and paternity fraud scheme. That son of a bitch, I snarled. I stopped breathing through my nose. I was so angry I felt like my eyeballs were vibrating. B, no, don't go yet, Sharon pleaded, but it was too late. The conflict-avoidant part of my brain had been incinerated by the white-hot rage of professional sabotage and paternal deceit. I marched. I walked straight up the stairs, past the people in vintage flannel shirts, and right into section C, row 4. The music was so loud it was physically pushing me backward, but I kept going. I slammed my hand down on the railing, right next to where Wayne's champagne flute was sitting. The clinking sound was drowned out by the music, but the suddenness made them jump. Wayne turned first, a huge, fake smile plastered on his face. He saw me, and the smile evaporated faster than his crypto portfolio in 2022. He went from smug crypto bro to terrified toddler in 0.3 seconds. B. Barbara, what are you doing here? He stammered, frantically trying to shove the manila envelope full of cash into his back pocket. Linda Petrov, however, was immediately aggressive. The PTA Karen instinct kicked in. She glared at me like I was a poorly baked casserole. Who are you? This is a private VIP section. Security? Linda snapped, trying to wave down a large bouncer who was busy looking bored. I ignored her completely. I looked straight at Wayne. My voice was surprisingly calm, which NGL was terrifying. I just wanted to make sure your investor meeting was going well, Wayne, I said, leaning in so he could hear me over the music. It looks like you closed the whale, huh? Did she give you enough cash to cover the $347 electric bill? Or is that still coming out of my account? Linda bristled. Electric bill? What are you talking about? Wayne, who is this woman? Wayne was sweating profusely. Babe, this is Barbara. She's an accounting manager at the firm. We share a lease. It's nothing. Nothing. I was nothing. Oh, Barbara Torres, Linda said, recognition flashing in her eyes, followed by pure condescension. One whose file showed, shall we say, a lack of focus. The one who failed to secure the community fund proposal. Wayne was just telling me how disorganized the accounting department is and how you need to be replaced with someone more proactive. That was it. The final straw. The casual dismissal of my 15 years of loyalty and hard work because of her petty ambition and the machinations of the man who stole my raise. You know what's disorganized, Linda? I asked, my voice rising. Paternity of the baby due in 3 weeks. And the fact that your husband, Mark Petrov, thinks he's the father when it's actually this crypto clown right here. The music hit a brief, glorious silent pause between songs. My sentence echoed in the temporary quiet. The bouncer turned his head. A dozen people in the VIP section turned to stare. Linda's face went completely white. She looked at Wayne, then back at me, her eyes darting between us. You're lying, she whispered, her PTA confidence completely shattered. You're trying to ruin me. Am I? I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the iPhone. I pulled up the screenshot Sharon had managed to get of the text message on Wayne's watch face, focusing on the contact name KS and the last line. This is from KS, the junior admin Mark Petrov hired, right? I held the phone toward Linda. The one who thinks Mark is paying for her prenatal massages. He knows you're with Wayne, and she's threatening to tell Catherine Scott everything. And Catherine Scott, Linda, is the woman whose career Mark tried to ruin 6 years ago when she wouldn't sleep with him. I pointed down to the base of the VIP section where Sharon and Catherine were now standing shoulder to shoulder, looking less like backup dancers and more like extremely effective, silent witnesses. Wayne, finally realizing the game was over, made a break for it. He bolted toward the exit, scrambling over a spilled beer cup and leaving the manila envelope of cash lying on the velvet seat. Wayne, get back here, you idiot, Linda screamed, but he was gone. Linda turned back to me, venom in her eyes. You calculated bitch, you set him up. I set him up? I laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. I showed up because I saw my 25-year-old boyfriend kissing the woman who cost me my promotion. I wanted to know why I lost my raise. It turns out I lost it because your husband is a predator, your boyfriend is a scam artist, and you're funding the whole damn operation to save face. Congrats, Linda, you played yourself. I picked up the manila envelope. It was heavy. I opened it slightly. $100 bills, a lot of them. And GL, I needed that money. This is evidence, Linda snarled, reaching for it. I stepped back, holding it tight. This is my back pay, honey. Collateral for the $85 plumber fee he stuck me with. Sharon, seeing the opportune moment, stepped forward, holding her phone high. Linda Petrov, wife of board member Mark Petrov, are you confirming that your husband attempted sexual coercion against a female employee, and you are now using corporate funds to silence the paternity fraud committed by your lover, Wayne Gonzalez? Linda screeched. I mean, an actual high-pitched Karen shriek. I don't have to answer you. That phone away. I will sue you. My husband, that was Catherine's cue. She stepped forward, laptop open, looking fragile but determined. Mark Petrov won't be suing anyone, Linda, Catherine stated clearly. I already uploaded the recordings and the HR complaint documents to our firm's anonymous ethics portal 10 minutes ago. I attached the text message screenshot showing Kiara Smith's threat and Barbara's testimony about the financial manipulation that cost her a raise. I sent a copy to Mr. Henderson and the entire board, including Mark Petrov, with a subject line, Urgent, corporate coercion, paternity fraud, and misappropriation of client funds. Linda Petrov looked like she was having a medical emergency. She grabbed the railing for support. You can't do that. We just did, Sharon said, snapping a photo of Linda's stricken face. Consider this your performance review, Linda. I stared at Catherine, the quiet loner from data entry. She just took down the wife of a powerful board member and exposed a massive corporate scandal, all in service of a woman she barely knew. Catherine Scott was a goddamn hero. Let's go, I said, tucking the envelope securely under my arm. The crowd was buzzing. The band was trying to start all apologies, but it sounded like mockery. We walked out of that venue like we owned the place, leaving Linda Petrov sputtering and pulling out her phone to call her soon-to-be ex-husband. 2 days later, I haven't slept, TBH. The adrenaline crash was brutal. I spent 48 hours in my apartment alternating between uncontrollable crying, eating cold pizza, and watching Sharon's videos of the confrontation on repeat. NGL, the slow-motion shot of Linda's face when Catherine dropped the bomb is Oscar-worthy. Wayne has been texting me nonstop, a novel of excuses, none of which mention the baby or Linda. It's all babe, you don't understand, the pressure, the Solana project, I need my laptop, where are my sneakers? I blocked him on everything except Zelle because I am not above pettiness. I went to the office on Thursday, dreading the fallout. I thought I'd be escorted out by security. Instead, I was called into Mr. Henderson's office. He looked absolutely shell-shocked. He held a stack of papers, Catherine's ethics submission like they might burst into flames. Barbara, he started, sighing deeply. I owe you an apology, a profound one. He confirmed everything. Mark Petrov was immediately put on leave. The internal investigation, now spearheaded by an outside firm, confirmed that Linda Petrov had been accessing sensitive client and board information provided by Wayne, the idiot, and had used her position to torpedo my raise and promotion based on the feedback Wayne provided about my distractions. Money you saw, the payment from Linda to Wayne, was a non-disclosure agreement to keep him quiet about the paternity of Kiera Smith's baby. Petrov had been paying Kiera directly, thinking she was his mistress, but Wayne set up the whole thing to intercept the cash flow, Henderson explained, rubbing his temples. It's ugly, Barbara, truly ugly. I showed him the manila envelope, which contained $15,000 in cash. I need this documented, I said, placing the cash on his mahogany desk. This needs to go to the investigation team, but I need proof I returned it. And I need my raise and promotion, effective immediately, with back pay included. Mr. Henderson didn't hesitate. Done. And Barbara, we need to talk about Catherine Scott. Her professionalism and bravery in handling this long-term corporate misconduct, we need to make amends. I told him exactly what Catherine needed. A formal apology from the firm, a transfer to a non-data entry role, and a massive raise. By the end of the meeting, Catherine was promoted to junior analyst with a 25% salary bump and official company apologies, sent via certified mail. I insisted. Fast forward to Friday, I changed the locks on the apartment. I packed up Wayne's 5 identical pairs of expensive sneakers and his entire collection of crypto merch and dumped them outside the door with a passive-aggressive post-it note that read, "Your whale is stranded. Don't contact me." Wayne showed up later that day, screaming and banging on the door. I called the non-emergency police line, claimed he was violating the lease, and they handled it. GL, watching a police officer politely, but firmly tell Wayne Gonzalez, crypto bro, that he was trespassing on private property was more satisfying than my raise announcement. The logistical nightmare is real, though. I still have 3 months left on the lease, and I can't afford the $1,247 rent on my own, even with the new raise. I'm exploring options, like finding a roommate or breaking the lease, expensive, BTW. Aaron and Catherine have been my absolute rocks. We started a group chat called Operation Clean Sweep. Catherine is thriving in her new role. She's finally using her technical skills and she smiles sometimes. She confessed that after she hit send on that ethics report, she felt lighter than she had in 6 years. She still wears the hoodie, but the AirPods are usually off now. Her development is truly the best part of this whole mess. Sharon is compiling a dossier of all of Wayne's financial scams. Turns out, he was running a bunch of low-level cons in the periphery of my firm, promising exclusive early access to tokens that didn't exist, using my job title as leverage. Sharon says she's going to release the whole thing eventually on a public medium, just to warn people. A true goddess of impulsive justice. A week went by where I just focused on work and trying not to dwell on the fact that I wasted nearly 3 years on a sociopathic finance toddler. Stress ate 2 boxes of Cheez-Its and binge-watched Succession. The financial stress is still real, but the emotional drain is gone. Then Tuesday morning, the unexpected happened. I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. The profile picture was a heavily pregnant woman with vibrant pink hair. It was Kiera Smith, KS. "Barbara, I need to talk to you. I saw the news at the firm. I'm Kiera. I know you know about the baby. I thought Mark was paying for everything. I'm due next week. I need help." My stomach dropped again. I thought about ignoring it, but I couldn't. This poor woman was also a victim, just a much more pregnant one. I met Kiera at a neutral coffee shop that afternoon. She looked exhausted and terrified. She confirmed the entire convoluted story. Wayne convinced her Mark Petrov was the father, used my firm's contact list to orchestrate meetings with Mark, then manipulated Kiera into signing confidentiality papers that benefited Wayne. He had been completely cut off by Mark when the scandal broke. She had nowhere to go. "He promised me he'd take care of us," Kiera whispered, sipping her decaf tea. "He said if I did what he said, Mark would set up a massive trust fund. Wayne just wanted the lump sum cash. He was going to leave the country with Linda until the dust settled, then dump Linda and use the cash to start a new exchange platform. He's the worst," I confirmed. I did something conflict-avoidant Barbara would never have done. I didn't give her money, I need every cent, NGL, but I connected her with Catherine. Catherine had resources for victims of workplace harassment and financial abuse, and within hours, Kiera was set up with a pro bono lawyer and temporary housing, filing for emergency custody and child support against Wayne, not Mark. It felt right. Felt like real justice, helping the actual victim, not just seeking revenge on the perpetrator. 3 days after that, I got the final update on Linda Petrov and Mark Petrov. Linda officially filed for divorce from Mark, citing irreconcilable differences, which is code for I got caught cheating and funding a paternity fraud scheme. But the real kicker, Mark Petrov, in an effort to save face and mitigate the scandal that was now dominating the local business gossip sites, decided to make a massive, public show of corporate responsibility. He resigned from the board, but not before ensuring my promotion to Director of Accounting, yes, Director, was approved, along with an official company statement praising my unwavering integrity and commitment to ethical financial practices. I got my promotion. I got my massive raise. Mark Petrov, in his final act of ego, essentially credited me with saving the firm from a major financial scandal. The irony is absolutely delicious. By Tuesday, I was looking for a new place. I found a tiny, charming 1-bedroom apartment near downtown. It's $900 a month, which I can actually afford now. It has a big bay window and the neighbors are quiet. It's mine. I officially served Wayne with the eviction notice and a request for domestic fees. I charged him for all the Talenti I ate during the stress period, LOL. I haven't heard from him directly, but Sharon saw his Corolla parked outside his mom's house, which NGL is where he belongs. I realized I'd been ignoring red flags for months, maybe years, because I was terrified of being alone after my divorce. Wayne wasn't just a bad partner. He was a distraction I manufactured to avoid facing my own life. Losing the raise hurt, but the betrayal was necessary. It forced me to stop prioritizing peace at any cost and start demanding what I deserve. I'm still finding small vestiges of Wayne everywhere. A stray charging cable, a cheap bottle of cologne, a half-used stick of expensive organic deodorant. I haven't thrown them out yet. It's part of the process, I think. I'm eating ramen every day while I save up for furniture but sleeping peacefully. I finally changed the Netflix password. Petty? Yes. Satisfying? Also yes. Yesterday, Sharon and Catherine came over with wine and we screenshotted everything, compiling our Betrayal Hall of Fame document. We laughed so hard that my neighbor probably thought I was having an emotional breakdown, but it was a genuinely happy laugh. I still have bad days where I feel embarrassed and stupid. I still think about the fact that I let a 25-year-old control my career and finances. But then I look at my new director of accounting business cards, and I remember that I walked into a terrible cover band concert and took down a corporate scheme, all because I got mad enough to stop being conflict avoidant. I am 48 years old, and I finally feel like I am starting my life. I'm not proud of how I handled some of this, like the Talenti phase, but I set boundaries and I demanded accountability. Wayne, he's probably out there trying to scam someone else with a new cryptocurrency named after a dog breed. Linda is navigating a messy public divorce. Kiera is preparing for motherhood and legal action, armed with solid legal help. And me? I'm Barbara Torres, Director of Accounting. I am independent. I'm solvent. Yesterday, I saw my old boss, Mr. Henderson, in the hallway, and I didn't apologize for my existence. I just nodded, smiled, and kept walking. That's growth, NGL. Anyway, that's the update. I'll let you know if I ever run into Wayne at Trader Joe's again. If I do, I'm buying the expensive artisanal cheese and leaving him with the bill. We'll update if anything else insane happens. Thanks for reading, y'all. I owe Sharon and Catherine everything.